Today is Monday, October 31, 2022. Happy Halloween, friends! Known to many as Solar Samhain, this is the day when we celebrate the thinning of the veil between this world and the world of spirit. We celebrate in different ways around the world, some of us by honoring our ancestors, some by dressing up in strange ways, sort of giving ourselves permission to get a little lost in a character that is unlike our own. In any case, this day arises as an acknowledgement of the mystery surrounding life and death, and what we intuit about what may exist on the other side of that threshold. Sun and Venus are conjunct here in the land of Scorpio, and Mercury has joined them here. These three personal planets are all within 10 degrees of one another and therefore very much influencing one another, perhaps making it hard to separate what we experience from what we attract and what we think about it all. Scorpio's influence here makes it clear, however, that our outer life focus, our desiring hearts, and our rational minds are all very much focused on the inner workings of our bodies, our hearts, our psyche, our truths. Superficial connections, conversations, and activities won't be very satisfying right now. We bring our attention to our personal experience to see what we can learn when we turn within to focus on the stuff about ourselves we would normally avoid. And some deep and intense conversations can come up with the ones we keep close. Let's be careful not to try to force those interactions, though. We all have plenty to do without putting others under pressure. The first quarter moon today makes ingress to Aquarius in the morning. Here's the moon on the chart. The Aquarian moon makes us interested in the collective and desiring to make friends with friends and allies out in the world. Pretty good vibes for a playful and cooperative Halloween celebration. And under this first quarter half-lit moon, we also pause to shift gears between planning for increase to accomplishing our goals by taking action. Fixed water, friends, and fixed air. We are the masters of our hearts and minds today. And today we look at the aspects through the lens of what's going on in each quadrant. And since the sun is in currently Scorpio, we'll begin with the water element vibes, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, that ask the questions, what do our instincts tell us? What is our internal experience like right now? Looking at this lower right quadrant on the chart, we find the moon making conjunct to Pluto, where we know something intense is bound to come up, like a memory or a sudden realization. Our reactions at this time can be pretty intense as well. We may feel compelled to react to them in some uncharacteristic way. Saturn is now direct again in Aquarius, and we may feel an intuitive drive to show up more in and for our communities. Jupiter and Neptune are essentially conjunct in Pisces now, reminding us that our instincts toward compassion and creativity are the ticket to personal growth. And Chiron in Aries is in the quadrant of instinct here to help us feel the healing we've done and need to do on a more visceral level. Moving clockwise, we come to the fire element, where we seek to know what drives or motivates us. This is where we find Sun, Mercury, and Venus essentially conjunct in Scorpio, which is probably our most fiery water sign. This says our motivations are all quite personal. They have to do with how we show up in public, what we like and love, and the plans we want to make. We may feel driven at this time to forge deeper connections in our public and personal lives, especially by sharing about ourselves and what it is that we desire. And then next we come to the earth element, Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo. This quadrant has to do with how we be in the world. Questions about our physical sense of wellness, strength, and security come up. And we can see there really isn't much happening in planetary activity in this quadrant at this time, which isn't to say that we don't have a physical experience. I do see that the trine between Mercury and Mars runs through this area, and I sense that it's a good time to be thinking about what actions we might take to increase our personal sense of security and to be communicating with others about what would make us feel safe and supported. And last but never least, we come to the air element, Libra, Aquarius, Gemini. Here we give consideration to our thoughts, plans, and communications. Mars has just gone retrograde up here in the land of Gemini, and a good deal of our mental focus is probably dedicated at this time to how we make progress while also revising our approaches to action and initiative. The direct route doesn't appear to be open to us, and we don't want to create problems by communicating in indirect and manipulative ways. So it will be important, again, to be willing to include others when we talk about what it is we're trying to do. And Uranus has been retrograde in Taurus for some time, still essentially conjunct to the North Node as well. This may take up a lot of room in our thought process as we continuously discover things that we'd like to be able to rely on, especially material resources that cannot be so easily gotten. And yes, it's frustrating, but we're probably fairly used to this by now, and we know that we have to have a backup plan in case the regular way of getting things isn't working. Coming up on Wednesday, Venus culminates a quincunx to Chiron, which will invite us to adjust our receptive hearts in the interest of peace in our relationships. This Saturday, Sun will also culminate a quincunx to Chiron, possibly bringing in some anxiety, especially about social acceptance and approval. And then the full moon next Tuesday coincides with a total lunar eclipse on the cusp of Taurus and a lot of other celestial activity that winds up our 2 weeks of eclipse season. And that is it for today's astrology, friends. Thank you for tuning in. For the second half of this vlog, which focuses on bringing in further insight from Tarot, please check out my other channel, Astrology Today and Tarot with Melrose. The link is in the description. I appreciate you all so much for tuning in. My love and gratitude go out to each and every one of you, and I will see you all back here tomorrow for more Astrology Today.